Hey y'all, it's me, Colleen from New Nomad. I crossed into Missouri today and I walked, I guess, about 12 miles to a host that I met on warmshowers.org. Um, I feel pretty good, seeing the Gateway Arch, the gateway to the west, and since I passed it and been walking, I really been thinking about all the people that came through and the last few hundred years traveling west, to try to find a better life and make settlements. We're going to ignore the fact of all the genocide for now, for the purpose of this conversation. We're going to ignore all that, but as looking at as far as that I've come, because I've come from all the way from the Atlantic, and I'm thinking about the people, who got off the boat and, got on the Grand Caravan all the way to the west. And I'm doing it with a lot better equipment than they did. They did it in dress clothes with cattle and horses and stuff, and, and they made it. And I'm up here struggling, and I have, the best equipment that my money can buy, So it did motivate me a little bit while I was walking. And I just so happened to walk by Purina Nestle corporate office, I guess. So I went in there and asked about sponsorship, and the guy at the front desk just took my number and gave me some information. So hopefully that'll turn into something, because that would be nice to get a little bit of help on dog food and treats. And the people who work there get to bring their dogs to work, so Jacob had a little bit of interaction. And the walk today was pretty good. So far since I've been in St. Louis, the weather is still hot, but the humidity isn't as bad, so 92 actually feels like 92 and not 105. And I think both me and Jacob needed that. It wasn't a lot of hills, so I guess maybe I'm coming to the more flat area of the country. And I'm pretty excited. Indiana and Illinois was a little bit of a whirlwind, and thinking back, I'm maybe my memory isn't so good because of how hot I was sometimes. Because sometimes I would be dizzy and can't breathe, and I have to sit down. And there was several times in both of those states where I was really, really in a bad way, because I have been walking in 100+ degree weather for at least maybe 5 weeks, and it's really been wearing me down. And Jacob, the cooling vest does work. It doesn't work exactly as advertised. I have to put water in it way more frequently than every 3 days, like the description says. But other than that, it's working out well, and I kind of wish I could afford to buy one for myself. I looked at them on Amazon, and they're like, the good ones are like over $100. But seeing how well it works for Jacob, I'm gonna see about maybe getting me one, because it's not like the weather is going to start turning cool like in the next couple of weeks. I got probably another 6 to 8 weeks of this heat. I know when I get to the Rocky Mountains it should start cooling down, but I remember from last year they were having record heat as well. Not as hot as it is now. It wasn't in the hundreds, but for that area it was pretty hot. And I'm not sure if I'm gonna make it to the Rockies by September 1st. It's not looking real good right now, but we'll give it a shot. And I've also been thinking about, instead of going through Kansas, taking a detour instead and going through Nebraska, because at least that would be a little bit more shady, and then that would put me further up in Colorado, so maybe I could actually make my deadline. And I know there's more to see in Nebraska anyway, because everybody talks about how boring Kansas is, and how quickly I'm gonna move through it. I'm more concerned about the lack of shade. I have no problem with it being flat. I have no problem with some hills. I do have a problem with walking out with the sun beating on me for hours and hours. And it's not so much for me. I can handle the heat a lot better than this black dog right here. Even with his cooling vest, he still gets really worn out, because he did not take to the shoes. I'm gonna get him another set of shoes though and see if he finally takes to those, because that will make me feel better, especially today, because we did a lot of sidewalk and city walking, and there's like broken glass everywhere. So I'm gonna make sure I check his paws real good tonight before I wax him with the mother's wax. And if he got some little glass in there, I just have to pull it out with tweezers, and if it's too bad, then I'll have to push him for the next couple of days, which I don't want to do because it's super hot. It's cooler here, but it's still hot. I think right now it's almost 3 o'clock, and it's about 96 degrees, a real 96, and the wind seems to be blowing okay. But when you're walking on sidewalks and concrete and stuff, it does feel hotter. When I got through downtown with the tall buildings and stuff, I had a lot more wind, so it was a little bit more pleasant. This is probably the best walk I've had in maybe the last 4 or 5 weeks today. So that's giving me hope that the rest of Missouri, will kind of make up for Ohio, Indiana, and Illinois. Because it was walking through those states was pretty terrible for one reason or another. If not for the people that I met, I think I probably would have quit several times, because I thought about quitting more in the last 6 weeks that I have in the whole entire 100+ days that I've been out here. And the guy that's hosting me today, he has this awesome record collection. So I'm glad that I got here early, because I'm going to sit here and listen to music all day and just, run these records. And I'm going to have a good time, because this is an awesome music collection. It's probably the second best I've seen in all my years, and I'm about to be 36, so that's really saying something. And I mean, there's Michael Jackson and Janet Jackson, the original Whitney Houston. He got Queen and, the Eagles, and just all my favorites, even people that I didn't even know who they were, but you know the song. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to run these records, and I'm going to enjoy the rest of my day, because I got to be up at 5 a.m. All right, talk to y'all later.